Cernano to the outside, set to kick off the middle pick 4. And they're off. Brew is the quickest out of the gate, immediately joined by Zagreus, who's faster, and Zagreus is new leader. Sogno Divino comes away in third. They are followed by Little Diddy, who races in mid-pack. Chapobel is down at the rail. Cernano is next. Speed of Elon is second to last, and Giant Luther 7 off the lead. It's Zagreus and Armando Ayuso past the 6-furlong pole, dictating terms over Sogno Divino. Down at the rail comes Brew, reclaiming second. Another 2 back to Chapobel, who's in a good spot. 3/4 to Little Diddy. Chapobel is now 4.5 or so off the lead. Speed of Elon is next. Cernano second to last, and Giant Luther continues to trail. They have less than a half mile to go, and the lead belongs to Zagreus, who's clear by 3. Chapobel is coming after him now on the inside, and outside of him comes Brew. Those two are stride for stride. Sogno Divino is next. Speed of Elon in striking range if good enough. 5 lengths off the pace. Giant Luther is out of last in the pink silks. He is followed then by Cernano and Little Diddy. They turn for home. Zagreus has had it all his own way, has a 2-length lead. Chapobel angles out to try to mow him down in second. From the back, Sogno Divino in between horses. Speed of Elon down at the rail. A 16th to go, and Chapobel is now right up to Zagreus. Just behind them, Speed of Elon's coming, though, and Speed of Elon, look at those big strides getting up. Chapobel was second. Zagreus third, fourth between Giant Luther and Sogno Divino. In the gate. And they're off to kick off the pick 6. Extensive broke well. So did Nation. Nassau's Circle sprints up in between them. Let Seamus go. And Schaffner will trail through the opening stages where Extensive leads the way. So it's Extensive who will get hounded by Nassau's Circle. So a long shot pestering the heavy favorite around the first turn. Kyle Frey lets Nassau's Circle go on with it. And that's a good move, as Extensive will settle comfortably in second. Extensive stablemate Nation gets a good trip in third as well. Let Seamus go. Schaffner at the back, 6 lengths off the lead, 5 furlongs out. Antonio Fresu in Nassau's Circle. Take him to the half-mile pole. Tracked by Extensive in second. 2 more back to Nation. At the rail, DeSormo gets Schaffner a little bit closer. He's on even terms with Nation now at the half-mile pole. And a 3-wide let Seamus go. They move into the far turn. Nassau's Circle's been prominent throughout. 2-length lead. Extensive, Nation moving together now. Here's Extensive within a neck of the pacemaker. Nation is just outside of him. It's now 3.5 more back to Schaffner as Extensive takes the lead with a 1/4 mile to go. It's Extensive and Nation, the McCarthy pair, going on with it. At the rail, Nassau Circle running a big race, 3/16 of a mile to go. Extensive has a 1.5 length lead, shifts toward the rail, has to fend off Nation in the final 1/8 of a mile. Extensive by 2. Nation trying his best, but he's 3 behind, and it's Nation and Kyle Frey. A chalky start to this huge pick 6. Will score by 4. Schaffner nails Nation to complete the exacta. Irish Royalty. They're in the gate. And they're off, and Noble Reflection, as usual, flashes that sharp early foot. On the outside, Bob's Blue Moon is alongside to challenge. Those two hook up as they get back to the main course. Behind them, it's Devil Moon, and One Flew South is fourth, 4 lengths off the lead. Yakovlev is down at the rail, Commander in between rivals. And after that behavior at the gate, Irish Royalty is last. past the half-mile pole. Maldonado and Noble Reflection showing the way by a length, pursued by Bob's Blue Moon in second. Still two more to Devil Moon. One flew south outside of him. Yakolev is fifth, 7 lengths off the lead. Next to him is Commander, Irish Royalty, 3 deep. Noble Reflection and Bob's Blue Moon hounding him the entire journey. They turn for home, 1, 2, 3 lengths back. One flew south. Here's Yakolev finding his best ride. He's angling out, trying to pull off a mild upset. And here comes Yakolev in the center of the course, and he means business, blowing by Noble Reflection late. Another for Hector Berrios as Yakolev strolls in to win by 3. Noble Reflection second. Irish Royalty from last to third. And a photo between One Flew South and Bob's Blue Moon. Congratulations, Mr. Piazza. Spinning going in. Wishful Winker to the outside. And they're off. Perfect start. Spinning, Blister in the Sun has plenty of early gas in second. Petite Ange not far behind, 2 off the pace in third. Mucho Magical far outside. Wishful Winker moves closer, and it's a long way to Made to Move, who's out in the middle of the racetrack and far back. Blister in the Sun has passed the half-mile pole in front. 3 line up just behind her. On the extreme outside, it's Wishful Winker and Petite Ange in between those two. At the rail, Mucho Magical moves up nicely now. Mucho Magical very much in this, past the 3/8 pole. Another 3 spinning is dropping out of it. Another couple back to Made to Move. There's room at the rail for Mucho Magical, and she comes through under a very confident Kyle Frey and has taken the lead with a 1/4 mile to go. Blister in the Sun fully extended, trying to keep pace. Another 3 back to Petite Ange in third, and then Wishful Winker. They're in the final furlong. Mucho Magical, Blister in the Sun. Petite Ange is starting to finish with some very good late energy. Has 3.5 to make up on Mucho Magical. Mucho Magical, Blister in the Sun. Mucho Magical, the Utah bred, gives Kyle Frey a triple. Blister in the Sun second. Petite Ange third, and Wishful Winker fourth. And they're off in the Irish O'Brien, and Pushiness is very quick, so is Prancing Through Paris. And they're the first 2 out of the gate, but Pushiness is naturally quicker and has opened up a length. Shocking Gray has moved into second. They're followed by Prancing Through Paris on the outside. Tam's Little Angel. Sneaker moves up now to be a joint second. It's a gap of at least 6 lengths to the 2 trailers. Moment's Pleasure and Lamborghini is at the back of the field. It will be Pushiness just sailing along uncontested down the hillside course. And she's in front by 2. Shocking Gray takes up the chase in second, and Sneaker is tucked in neatly third. Then Tam's Little Angel, white blinkers between horses, Prancing Through Paris in the pink. Moment's Pleasure trying to mount a bit in the red colors, 6 off the lead. And the trailer is Lamborghini. They turn for home, and it's Pushiness in front, 2-length lead. On the outside, Prancing Through Paris running a big race, and Prancing Through Paris is up to take the lead away from Pushiness. In behind them comes Shocking Gray past the 16th pole. Prancing Through Paris just in front of Pushiness, and Prancing Through Paris has won the Irish O'Brien. Pushiness was second. Sneaker finished third. Moment's Pleasure fourth. In. In the gate. And they're off. clean start. Saltwater Cowboy, always on key, joined by Bruckner. Those three sprint quickly. Damasio is just behind them in fourth. Then it's Lone Scout. Down at the rail, Fireman Dan, and next to him is Dark Marcus. They sprint to the 6 furlong pole with Saltwater Cowboy and Armando Aguilar leading the way a length and a half. Bruckner in second. It's 3 lengths behind them to Always on Key, and Damasio has found a spot at the rail in fourth. Then comes Lone Scout, Fireman Dan, and outside of them, Dark Marcus inches forward. 5 furlongs to run, Saltwater Cowboy to catch. Bounding along with a 2-length lead, doing it well thus far. With Bruckner just behind him, getting a tiny bit closer in second. 3 more to Always on Key third. Then Damasio, Dark Marcus, and the turquoise cap is 5 lengths off the pace. Lone Scout and Fireman Dan. 3/8 of a mile to go, and Saltwater Cowboy leads it by 2. Giovanni Franco asking Bruckner to get closer. He's all in second. Another 4 back to Damasio, who's down at the rail, clearly into third. As Always on Key drops back. The others seem too far away. They turn for home, and Saltwater Cowboy has been the controlling speed, has a 4-length lead with a furlong left to go. Bruckner and Damasio. Damasio is getting into second late, a 16th to run. Saltwater Cowboy by 5 over Damasio, and it's Saltwater Cowboy making every pole a winning one. Scores by 4.5. Damasio second, Fireman Dan third, then Bruckner. There's another extraordinary wagering opportunity with this 9-horse field. Couple moving around. And they're off. Kitty Marin is out very quickly. In the center here, Sensational Dream. And Juan Hernandez gets after brilliantly, and she flashes that zip, and there goes Brilliantly to take over. Sensational Dream is now in second. Lila is 3 wide going into the first turn, and just inside of her comes Innovative. Then Favor to You, 5th on horse's heels, 5 lengths off of Brilliantly. Delightful Laura is next, wandering about, a little awkward for her. Down at the rail, Kitty Marin is next. The 2 trailers at the back of the field, Time to Shine and Cloudy Women. Onto the backstretch they go, and Brilliantly, all by herself up top. The pace appears quick. She has it by 3. Innovative is in the second spot. She is followed by Lila in the pink silks third. Sensational Dream is next. Here's Favor to You, 5th past the half-mile pole behind horses. She's joined at the rail by Kitty Marin. Delightful Laura outside of that pair. Time to Shine and Cloudy Women. Less than 3 furlongs to travel. Brilliantly the one to catch. She's been doing it nicely throughout and leads it by 3. Innovative is in second. She's followed by Lila third. Down at the rail, it's Sensational Dream. Favor to You splits that pair. White blinkers as the field turns for home. Brilliantly still in command by 4 lengths. Innovative is in second. On the outside, Favor to You and Kitty Marin, a 16th to run. And it's Brilliantly. Her lead is 4 lengths. Kitty Marin is coming with a big late run. Brilliantly, Kitty Marin, Brilliantly holding on, Brilliantly all the way. Kitty Marin, a fast finishing second. Then it was Innovative in third. Fourth was between Time to Shine and Favor to You.
Top of the morning to you people, at least those of you out here on the West Coast. And of course, happy St. Patrick's Day. We've got a special 9-race St. Patrick's Day card kicking things off at 1 p.m. Pacific time. And before I introduce my seminar guest, a special thank you to those who filled in for me while I was on assignment in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm happy to say that I survived and I'm able to talk about it. Thanks to Peter Lurie, Zoe Cadman, and of course, Millie Ball for filling in as the seminar host the last 3 racing days. Our seminar guest today, not sure if he's Irish, but he certainly is an important guest to have on St. Patrick's Day. His name, Juan Leyva. Juan, happy St. Patrick's Day. Hey, welcome to the seminar.
To you. Thank you, Tom.
It's great to have you here. Now, have you ever had corned beef cabbage?
Yes, I have.
You have?
Yes.
Interesting. Have you ever had green beer?
No, I have not had green beer.
Well, let's go have a little of both after the seminar, and you'll do the Irish gig before you saddle some horses later today.
I'll have the corned beef. No beer before saddling.
I understand. Very professionally spoken. Now, of course, Juan, you're the assistant trainer, the longtime assistant trainer for trainer John Sadler, and one of your prized pupils, so to speak, under your tutelage was Flightline, who won the 2022 Breeders' Cup Classic. You basically rode him every morning. You were his regular exercise rider. What was so different about Flightline compared to all the other horses you've either exercised for John or ridden in your career as a jockey?
So I think the biggest thing about him was just the ease of the way he did things. You know, he did things so much easier than any other horse. The strength he had was so just effortless.
Did you know, like the first time you got on his back, did you know that he was something special?
Yeah. The first time I sat on him, I came back and I said, wow, John, this is a whole different kind of animal. I mean, I'd never sat on a horse like that in my life.
Now, you were at Keeneland when he won the 2022 Breeders' Cup Classic. Of course, he had other impressive performances, including the Pacific Classic at Del Mar. But what were your thoughts when he was running at Keeneland? And, of course, Jose Ortiz tried to, string you guys out real early, 107 and change for the 3 quarters. But you were never really panicked. What were you thinking as they were running the Breeders' Cup Classic?
So I was just happy that he broke so cleanly out of the gate and sharp. I knew it was over at the break.
Really?
He didn't need to be in front. All he had to do was just settle the first part, and he'd run him down the lane, and that's exactly what he did.
Well, that's awesome performance and awesome memories. Of course, now he's a stallion. Have you seen him at Lane's End where he stands?
Yeah, I've been back a couple times to Kentucky.
Does he recognize you? Do you think he recognizes you?
I want to say he does. Yeah. I went the first time, and he was out in his paddock, and Bill Ferris took me out there, and he said, oh, yeah, he's usually pretty quiet. But I called him out to me, and he came over and started putting on a show, running around the paddock. So I would say he remembered me.
That's awesome. And of course, he's hopefully going to be a very successful stallion. His current babies are weanlings. We won't see his 2-year-olds until next year. But of course, there's a lot of excitement about a lot of his foals.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them. They all look phenomenal. Great hips, beautiful shoulders on them. They have great eye on them. So we're hoping for the best with them.
Well, speaking about hoping for the best one, there's a half-brother to Flightline by the name of Eagles Flight, who just recently won here on March 8th. He is a half-brother, as I mentioned, to Flightline. So let's watch the horses come from the quarter pole in this race on March 8th and listen to Frank Miramati describe the action.
Eagles Flight cuts the corner and goes on with it, brazenly on the outside, and Santarena head and head battling for second, and down at the rail comes Mystification, a late bid from Ghazali, but Eagles Flight is in another league, and Eagles Flight strides out beautifully through the stretch, the promising Eagles Flight.
Now, Juan, as we continue to watch the gallop out after they pass the wire, he kind of shows some characteristics of Flightline. He's actually widening as the distances increase. This was just his 3rd lifetime start, 2nd time around 2 turns. I got to believe that you guys were very impressed with that performance.
Yeah, it was impressive. For me, watching it over again, what I see is still a lot of immaturity in him.
Okay. Why do you say that?
When he turned for home, instead of actually just opening up, he was kind of looking around.
Ducked into the rail a little bit.
Yeah, trying to figure out what he's supposed to do. When he saw the tracks on the gate, the tracks from the gate on the racetrack, he kind of fumbled around a little bit.
Sure.
So I know there's still a little bit more in there. We just have to coach it out of him. He's a young horse. He's only run 3 times. So he's got a lot of maturing to do.
Are you his regular exercise rider as well?
Yeah, I get on him all the time.
Has he been back to the track since that performance on March 8th?
Yeah, he's been back to galloping. He's doing well. He'll probably have a breeze over the weekend, and he's doing fine.
I don't want to spill all the beans, but do you have a race picked out, or is it kind of TBD?
No. Right now, we're going to see how he works this Saturday or Sunday. That'll tell us a lot. We're in no rush with them. We're going to do right by him and we'll see what comes up.
You guys were pointing for the Malibu. You had to miss that. But of course, like I said, this most recent win certainly gets them back on the beam and back on the trajectory that I'm sure you guys wanted.
Yeah, it was very promising the way he won. You know, the first time that he ran off a layoff, I'm not going to lie, it was a little disappointing because we were expecting a win. But, you know, he had a long layoff. It was first time going 2 turns. So for him to win second start off a layoff, it was really nice. And I love the way he did it. Like I said, he's still immature, so there's a lot left in there.
You're an important member of Team Sadler. Do you actually go to any of the sales? Do you go to the sales and kind of advise Mr. Ronas or any of your other clients?
No, I don't. I don't get to go to the sales. John's been the one going. I stay behind and run the barn while John's away.
Let's talk about some of your team members. Juan Lopez, of course, is an important member of Team Sadler. Maybe give some credits to some other people that do a lot of hard work that we never hear about.
You know, all the riders are really good, from David Pineda to Javier Mesa. Our other assistant, Alex Bassano, he's a tremendous hand, a very knowledgeable person. He's worked for Richard Mandela, so he's got a lot in him.
Former jockey.
Yeah, former jockey. We've got Serape Figueroa, who works a lot of our horses, Jelani Grant. You know, the list is long. Everybody puts their own little grain of salt into it. So it's a really nice team that we have. We all get along. And it's really fun in the mornings to work with all those guys.
The list is long of mounts that Juan Leyva had in his career. He rode 8,677 horses. Now, as I've mentioned many times, he's the most important assistant trainer to John Sadler, who, of course, is a Hall of Fame quality type of trainer. We're going to find out who Juan likes on today's 9-race card. Mr. Sadler has runners in 2 races. We're going to find out not only about those runners, but who Juan likes on all 9 races. But before we do any of that, let's toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Miramati and get the early changes on today's St. Patrick's Day card here at the Great Race Place.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a special St. Patrick's Day card at Santa Anita Park, the Great Race Place. The track is fast, the turf is firm. The rail on the turf today is at 20 feet. Here are the changes. Just one blinker note in the first, as always noted in your program. In the second, scratch 1, El Maga. Number 3, A Kitten for Sue, 2 pounds over. In race 3, there are no changes. In the fourth, we start the $2 pick 6. Fresh pool today. Blinkers on, number 7. Race 5 is the start of the late pick 5 and all turf pick 3. 1, Pocaralis, 1 pound over. Race 6, scratch 5, Starship Defiant. Note that number 8, La Popis, the jockey is Pedro Flores. 9, Lion's Lair, the jockey Tiago Pereira. In the 7th, beginning of the late pick 3, there are no changes. Race 8, number 3, Rosie Tinkerbell will carry 3 pounds over. Disregard the equipment change for number 4, Sensational Zizi, who raced with blinkers last time and will again today. And in the 9th, Super High 5 wagering is off due to the scratch of number 3, Madeira Wine. Enjoy this special St. Paddy's Day. You already got free admission and parking. We've got drink specials throughout the afternoon. Post time for the opener in 58 minutes. At this time, we go back to Quigley's Corner. His special guest today, the outstanding assistant trainer for John Sadler, Juan Leyva.
Welcome back. We're talking horses with Juan Leyva. As you just heard Frank Miramonte say, he's the outstanding assistant trainer for John Sadler. It's our pleasure to have him as our seminar guest today. Juan, I overlooked one important mount. I mentioned you had 8,677 mounts throughout your career, but probably the most memorable one was in 2011 when you won the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint with a runner by the name of Musical Romance. Last time you were on the seminar, I actually showed the stretch run of that race. What are your memories of that particular afternoon?
It was a feeling of belonging.
You finally felt like you made it?
Yeah, you finally feel like you made it. You got to the big show and you performed.
At Churchill Downs.
At Churchill Downs, probably one of my favorite racetracks.
Sure.
Besides Santa Anita, of course.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it was a great day. I'll never forget it. The trainer, Bill Kaplan, rest in peace, passed away last year. He was a dear friend of mine. He was somebody that I could just pick up the phone and call about anything. So it was special. We were almost like family. I'm sure you had high expectations going into the race, but did you feel some butterflies? Was it natural to feel a little bit nervous, or were you so confident in the horse that you didn't have butterflies? Or the filly, I should say. I was very confident. I was confident 3 weeks out. Wow. Yeah, she was training like a beast. She had been doing great all year long. I didn't think there was any way that I could lose that race. Well, you look great right now. It looks like you could ride this afternoon. Do you miss riding in the afternoons? No, not at all. No, I don't. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy training the horses. I almost feel like it's a lot more rewarding. Mm-hmm. You work with them every day. There's a lot more responsibility. But isn't it frustrating when something goes wrong? You feel like you wasted 30 days getting ready for the race, and now you got to wait another 30 days. How do you handle that emotionally? Yeah, for sure. It's very frustrating. But, on the other side of it, I got to remember that I was on the other side before. Sure. So I'm pretty understanding when it comes to that. Mm-hmm. If a jock messes up. Or just a bad break or, bad whatever trip. It is. I get it. As long as the horse comes back okay. Sure. We'll turn the page and we'll get ready for the next one. Here's a tough question for you. What have you learned from John Sadler that really has helped you, in your current profession? What has he taught you? Is it patience? Is it understanding the horse? Is it something different? What is it that you've learned from John? It's patience. Patience is the key. You got to give these horses whatever time they need. And they'll reward you. They'll always reward you. You try to rush something, it blows up in your face. How do you know when the horse actually needs more time? Like what things do they kind of exhibit from a body language standpoint? So I think most of the time it's how they're eating. Okay. Something as simple as that. Yeah, a happy horse is going to be eating through his feed bucket. He's going to ask for more. When you come back in the afternoon and you start putting in the feed tubs, you hear them going crazy. If a horse doesn't want food, something's bugging him. He's not right. He's trying to tell you something. The other big thing is a lot of people would say, oh, this horse is a bad character. He doesn't want to train. But if they don't want to train, it's for a reason. Mm-hmm. They can't talk to us. We have to interpret the signs that they give us. And one of them is if they don't want to go to the track, there's something going on. It's not always a mental issue. You mentioned when you go back for the afternoon feed. Now, typically that's 2:30, 3 o'clock, I assume, in the afternoon. But for you, that must feel like midnight because you wake up at 2:45 in the morning, start to get ready, come to the track around 3:30. I mean, your day starts super, super early. Where do you find the stamina and the enthusiasm, to basically sustain that 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year? So I'm actually in a very lucky position because obviously, before I got to John's, he already had his barn set up very well. So when he gave me the job, he knows I have a family. He knows I have young kids. I need to spend time with them. And that was one of the things that right away he told me. He said, you don't have to come back in the afternoons every day. He said, I have 2 foremans I trust. They've been doing it for years. So there's no pressure to come back in the afternoons. I come back a couple days a week. My kids enjoy being at the barn, so it's always fun bringing them over. My wife is a horsewoman, so she loves being at the barn. So that's how I do it. I mean, I have a lot of support at home, and really it's just love for the horses. Let's talk about your family. Let's mention your wife's name as well as your children's name. What are their names and how old are they? So my wife, Christy Chapman, she used to ride, obviously now she's Christy Leyva. Mm-hmm. She rode, her father was a trainer, her brother was a trainer. Right now, she's in charge of the house, taking care of the kids, which is a difficult job. That's a much tougher job than you have. I don't ever want to have that job. It's way more difficult than running a barn. I have my kids, my daughter, Eva, she's 11. My son, Derek, he's 9. And they're both good kids. They both play soccer. They train 5 to 6 days a week. So.
Are they into the horses? Do they come out and help you guys at all? Or
No,
they're not into it.
No,
they don't want to follow your footsteps.
No, not really. They know who Flightline was, and my son knows who Flavian Pride is. That's about it. But any other jog, they might know who Joel Rosario is.
Sure.
They know who he is. But any other one, they're not really into the game.
I'm glad you brought up Flavio because I wanted to ask you, and you jogged my memory. What makes him such a great jockey? Why is he so much better? Why did he win the Eclipse Award in your mind? Because of course you've been a former jockey. What makes him so great?
So the first time that I ran into Flavian was at Delta Downs.
Wow.
We were both riding the Delta Princess.
Okay.
And I'm an observer. And I watched him. He was very quiet, very composed, reading his form.
Very mature for his age.
Very mature, yeah. And I thought, okay, so that's who this kid is. Because obviously I'd seen him ride out here at the time I was in Florida. And he won the race. I finished second. He rode Shane's girlfriend. I finished second on Cajun Delta Dawn. But he had the same plan I had. Get close to the pace because it was a bull ring track and stay out of trouble. He won the race. Like I said, I finished second. But then when I got back here and I watch him ride, he's just like a missile. There's no backward action when he rides. He doesn't get in the way of a horse. He breaks and he lets the horse place himself.
He's got a plan.
He has a plan, and he knows how to stay out of the horse's way. He's a very physical rider. He's very strong, and he's very smart. He's a very smart individual, and he understands what a horse really needs.
What's the difference between riding the turf and the main track? Is it night and day?
Yes, it is. You have to be very patient on the turf, try to save ground, wait for that last quarter mile. Here at Santa Anita, you got to be close. On the dirt, you can't expect to make up a lot of ground.
Can't be Silky Sullivan.
No, the kickback is terrible. It hurts the horses. That's why a lot of horses that are closers, they don't really close because think about it. If you're running into dirt, do you want to run into it? No, you just want to stop.
They're at a disadvantage.
Yeah, so a lot of the races here on dirt are won on the pace or right off of it.
Sure. Well, let's take a look at today's 9-race card and see if we can find some winners, Juan, thanks to your expertise. We kick things off in race number 1 on the turf course, where the rails today are 20 feet. And of course, race 1 begins the popular 50-cent early pick 5. In race 1, this is a race for Calbred maiden special weights traveling 6 furlongs in the turf course. Take note, number 3, Raising the Stakes, is a first-time gelding morning line favorite. Original morning line favorite was number 1, Miss Joe's Curlin. However, the current betting choice at 3-2 is number 2, Kanani, putting the blinkers back on for trainer Lee Baraccio. Give us your thoughts on race 1, Juan.
So in here, I went with the first-time starter of Andy Mathis.
Okay. He has already won with a first-time starter this meet.
He's a very good trainer, Andy. I like studying his work patterns.
Talk to us a little bit about that. I'm very curious what you mean by that. Is it the distance? Is it the spacing between each work? What is it that you're looking for?
So usually with him, he always has not fast works, not slow, just in between.
Mm-hmm.
Like this horse here, Spectacular Tiger, he's got the last 2 works, 101 and 4, 101 and 4. But then if you look back, 3 works back, he's got a 36.
And a minute flat.
And he's got a minute flat. So, like I said, I observe a lot.
Uh-huh.
And
we like that as handicappers.
For me, this is almost a telltale sign with Andy that if he's got a sneaky fast work in between works, the horse can run. And I feel like in this race, there's not a real standout. I also like the 1, but I feel like the 5 could take it first asking.
Number 5, Spectacular Tiger, currently at 7-1 on the top board, is Juan Leyva's top choice in race number 1. Let's turn the page, Juan. Take a look at race number 2. Begins the 50-cent early pick 4. This race is on the main track, 6 furlongs the distance. It's a restricted starter allowance for 3-year-olds. Take note, number 3, A Kitten for Sue, is a filly running against the boys. Also, number 1, El Maga, has been declared out of the race. The morning line favorite from the Blaine Wright barn, number 5, Swift Stefan, who's 9-5 on the morning line. Talk to us about race 2, Juan.
So in here, I had originally picked the 1. Obviously, he's scratched now. That leaves me with the 5. I thought this horse has good speed in here. Obviously, here on the main track, you got to show speed. And that's what really drew me to him. Blaine Wright's a good conditioner, knows where to spot his horses. So I think that horse has a good shot to win this race today.
Let's talk about the comment that you just made, one, which is knows where to spot his or her horses. Obviously, there's a lot of good trainers, and there's a number of good Northern California horsemen who have migrated down here, including Blaine Wright, Tim McCann, and many, many others. But what is it about in terms of the talent that they have in terms of spotting their horses? Kind of expand upon that idea, if you would, for a minute.
So I feel like this is a big mistake done by a lot of trainers where they have a horse with fast works
and hopefully ability,
but they never really test them with another horse to see if he's got some class. And a lot of times you can be fooled by that, and you think, oh yeah, I've got a really nice horse, but then when you put him next to another one, they fold. And I feel like a lot of the more high percentage trainers really are good at evaluating the talent of a horse and not just saying, oh, this horse is working really fast. That's not always a true tale. You can have a horse that isn't particularly fast, but when you put him in company with other horses, he outworks them. And I don't know Blaine Wright. I don't know who he is.
Great guy.
But like I said, I observe, and I always see him winning races at good percentage.
Mm-hmm.
When he comes down here, he always spots him well at Del Mar. And like I said, I thought this horse looked good in here.
As horse players or handicappers, we're always trying to define the word class, and you just used it in your explanation, Juan. What's your definition of class? In other words, you kind of mentioned it in terms of ability, but when one horse who has ability hooks up with another horse with maybe a little bit more ability, do they feel intimidated? Do they feel inferior? Do they know it right away? Or just describe it for us.
So I'll give you a little anecdote.
Okay.
We're at Keeneland, and we're walking up the hill to train Flightline.
Okay.
Epicenter's walking down. He had already trained. And both of these horses looked at each other. And Epicenter
backed
flinched.
away. He was the first one to blink.
He was the first one to blink. And Flightline had that effect on a lot of horses, where he would go by them and look at him, and the horse would flinch.
I saw that actually at Lane's End. I was fortunate enough to see Zenyatta, and she's the queen of the paddock. If you ever notice the other mares that are with her in the paddock at Lane's End, she's very intimidating. She was intimidating on the racetrack, and she's still intimidating in her, in her previous profession as a broodmare. That's another definition of class.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of horses are like that. I think it stems back from, being in the wild. Who's dominant, who's leader of the pack, and whose genes are going to pass on.
Well, hopefully Flightline's genes will pass on. Let's take a look at race number 3. This is where you have some runners here, Juan. We're going 6 furlongs in the turf course for fillies and mares. It's a starter allowance race. It's a field of 6. Morning line favorite from the Mark Latt barn coming off the left. Number 4, Yellow Sundress. However, you saddled 2 in this race. Number 2, Headed for as well as number 5, Certitude. Certitude is the 9-5 second choice. Before we get your thoughts on the race, let's watch a training track drill for Certitude back on February 27th, courtesy of our friends at firsttv.com. Now, you can see that Certitude right now we're watching basically halfway through the workout. Quick Brown Fox, who was a recent maiden winner from the Richard Mandela barn, kind of jumps in. But the thing that caught my eye, and you can already tell by the speed of the camera, Certitude is moving along on the training track here just a few weeks ago, 58 and change. Never really slows down. Again, Queen Brown Fox was never a factor. What was your evaluation of this workout, Juan?
So looking at it, she looks like she's doing it very easy. But on the flip side, you got to realize that this training track can get really quick at times. So time isn't always the whole story. It's how they do it. And if you see her, she's got good cadence. She's going really nice. Not really being asked. Gallop out is nice. So this is a really nice work. Obviously, it's a few weeks back. But she's had 2 good works before this race, and she's doing really well. Both
of your fillies have lost to Long May She Reign. Thankfully, she's not in this race. But of the 2 that you have, do you prefer Certitude over Headed for
Yeah, I think so. I give her, the edge over recency. I mean, she just won with Vince Cheminot on the 8th.
Going 2
February.
turns.
Yeah, going 2 turns. But she has enough speed that she can be in contention and hopefully run the Mark Glad horse down.
And Headed for gets Juan Hernandez. That's not a bad substitute for Hector Barrios. Last time out, broke from the rail, but that was her first start since August of 2024. I got to imagine you expect her to improve off that effort.
Yeah, and if you look, the one time that Hernandez rode her at Del Mar, she ran her best race for him.
Do you think that's a great question that I wanted to ask you? Do you think certain jocks fit certain horses?
Oh, for sure.
Why is that? Do they just communicate better with them? Tell me.
I think a lot of them is just some jocks have certain styles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Hernandez, he's a really good speed rider. He is not going to give you an easy lead, but yet he gets it all the time because a lot of these jocks don't want to commit to it. And he takes it to them, and I'm going to say 7 out of 10 times he gets away with it, and he cruises on the front end. Good, strong rider down the lane, saves enough always for the end. Really good.
To the aggressor goes the spoils.
Yeah.
Particularly here in Southern California.
Yeah. I mean, you know, when Ray Liu came down here for Del Mar last year, I told him, he asked me, he said, hey, give me some tips around here.
Sure.
I said, don't take back.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you break from that gate and you go.
You know, I grew up back in the Midwest, and of course I followed Midwest and East Coast racing early on in my horse racing career. But my basic generalization is back in that part of the country, they go slow early and fast late. Here we go fast early and fast late. And I think we've seen that whether it's with Jose Santos, who came out here a long time ago, or other East Coast jockeys, Steve Cawthon. They never really adapted to that mentality of we go fast right out of the gate.
Yeah, and you see, and that's the thing that makes Flavien, getting back to Flavien, so good, that he's able to adapt to it right away. He can come in from the East Coast where he's used to breaking and maybe seeing what's going on,
Slow fractions.
to taking the initiative and being on the lead.
Sure.
And he's a difference maker.
Fair enough. Let's take a look at race number 4. Begins the $2 pick 6. Thanks to all of you that participated in yesterday's pick 6. The winning tickets each paid in excess of $20,000. So congratulations to each of those winning ticket holders. We kick today's pick 6 off with a clean slate, sprinting 5.5 furlongs in the main track for maiden claiming 3-year-old fillies in for a $32,000 tag. Field of 7, number 5, Tropical Rain Day from the Victor Garcia barn is 7-5 on the Maury line. Talk to us about race 4, Juan.
So that's actually who I went with. I thought the horse looked like she's got the form to be competitive in here.
She's got speed.
She's got speed. Yes, she's run 9 times. She still can't win, but a lot of them are kind of in the same boat.
She's never run this low.
Exactly. She's dropping a little bit. So I really think this horse is going to be tough today. Serafin Carmona rode her last time, so he knows her now. And I think she might take them.
You also give a little love to the rail filly, number 1, Kapalua Ride. What'd you see about her other than the drop in class?
I thought her first race was good, and then something must have happened in the second race, but I like that sharp 35 and change. That means all speed is not lost in this race. And if for some reason she breaks real sharp out of there, she's dropping in class from main special weight to 32,000. That's a huge drop. And Antonio Garcia is a good conditioner. He spots him right. He's trying to make a name for himself with all the opportunities he's getting. He's a sharp guy. I think she could be an upset as well.
Line as well, right?
And Layla, let's not forget Layla. She's a pillar of the community.
Race number 5 begins both the 50-cent late pick 5 as well as the $3 all-turf pick 3 with a reduced 15% takeout. As you can see on the screen, perfect weather conditions today, so of course we're fast and firm. Race 5 is on the turf course for fillies and mares. It's a restricted starter optional claiming race. We've got a field of 6. Number 3, J&M Express is 3-2 on the Maury line, primarily because take a look at who she lost to last time. Jubilant Joni from the Jeff Mullins barn. Talk to us about race 5.
That's who I went with. I mean, I think it's probably the best horse in the race. Buyers-wise, she's always there when she runs on the turf. I mean, if you can throw away those 2 dirt races, and she looks really sharp in here.
Speaking of sharp, you also like number 5, Super Ellie, who's finished 1st and 2nd in her last 2 starts. Now you can take her for 20 if you want her. The current connections took her for 16. She's consistent. That's one of the reasons why I'm sure you like her.
Yeah, that's exactly why I liked her. She's consistent. I don't think she's ever run on the turf.
She is not.
But if she does take to it, that 74 buyer last time could jump to an 84. Most of the time, if horses do like the turf, you see their buyers jump 10 points. So if she likes it,
she might get an 84.
Yeah. and that puts her way ahead of the rest.
Race number 6 is another restricted race. This is another starter optional claiming race for fillies and mares, sprinting 6 furlongs in the main track. Race 6 also begins the 50-cent late pick 4. We've got a good field of 11 here after the scratch of the morning line favorite, number 5, Starship Defiant. Two jockey changes in the race. Number 8 will now be ridden by Pedro Flores. Also number 9, Lion's Lair, now ridden by Tiago Pereira. 11 ways you can go here, Juan. Which way are you going and why?
So I went with our old horse, Perfect and Gray.
Talk to us about it.
I think being on the outside, she doesn't particularly have to rush to the lead. She can see what's going on. She's coming off a win. To me, with the scratch of the 5 horse, it doesn't seem like it's that tough of a race. And I think if she breaks sharp, nobody wants to go. She could find herself on the lead and just keep on going.
15-1 on the morning line for Juan's top choice in race number 6. Number 12, Perfect and Gray. Race number 7 begins the $3 late pick 3, also where the reduced 15% take on. And we kick off that wager going 1 mile on the turf course for fillies and mares, allowance optional claiming types, non-winners of 2 other than. Field of 6, 2 of them in your barn here, Juan. Number 3, Kitty Katana, as well as number 5, Raw Ability, the morning line favorite, Sariha from the Mark Glatt barn. Before we get your thoughts on the race, we want to watch the 1 North American performance by number 5, Raw Ability. This was back down at Del Mar on September 2nd. She was very impressive in victory. You're going to see she breaks slow from the gate. She trails the field and then puts in a wicked late kick. 22.43 was her final quarter mile. Rather than me describe the action, let's listen to the recently retired Trevor Denman describe the action and watch Raw Ability win down at Del Mar.
Favorite Raw Ability was just a tad slow to get going, is at the rear. Quickest into stride is Lamborghini. Sneaker is right up alongside Queen Maxica, pushing the pace as well. Alluring tucks in right behind them. Shin Jedi gets a good spot at the rail, 4 off the leader. On the outside, Super Enticing. Lottery is in the red colors, now gives them 6-length start. Paradise Lake is racing in behind that. Then comes Blue Oasis. And last of all is Raw Ability, a good 12 off the leader. Onto the backstretch they go, and Lamborghini just at a sensible pace, not in a big hurry, leads it by a neck. Sneaker is right there second. Queen Maxima third on the far side. Down at the rail, Shin Jedi is only 2.5 lengths off these leaders. Alluring in the gold cap is another one in there. Super Enticing in the pink is now 6 lengths off the leaders. Lotaries on the far side. Paradise Lake races behind that with Blue Oasis, and still the trailer is Raw Ability, 11 off the lead. They run past the 3/8 pole, and Lamborghini still is neck in front. Sneaker now goes for an early run. Sneaker puts the pressure on him. Queen Maxima is in with a shot. Shin Jedi down at the rail. Alluring in the gold cap. On the outside, Lottery in the red colors coming late. Paradise Lake extreme outside. This is wide open. They come for home, and Sneaker bursts to the front, but a wall of horses chasing. Down the center, Lottery in the red colors, and here comes Raw Ability out of the clouds. Raw Ability coming like an express train, and Raw Ability got up to win it. Paradise Lake was right there, alluring as well.
Juan, the appropriately named Raw Ability certainly went from last to first in the blink of an eye. You guys had to be very impressed with that performance, but unfortunately we haven't seen her since then. How's she doing off the long layoff?
She's doing great. She came back really nice off of that nice layoff. Seems like she put on weight. She's had a lot of good works on the training track. We think she's ready to run a really big race today.
Well, as a handicapper, you guys excel with turf runners coming off long layoffs, going 2 turns. I'm going to rattle off some names of horses from your barn that have won off extended layoffs. Battle Call, Brawn, Gun Bullet, Song of Fire. This is one of your expertises. Of the last 10 turf horses going 2 turns, you've won with 4 of them. I got to believe you think Raw Ability probably fits in that category as well.
Yeah, we think she's ready. She's always shown us a lot of run, and we're excited to get her going again.
How did you guys find her? In other words, I know Mr. Rohn has probably brought her privately over in Ireland, but does an agent call you guys? How does that kind of all work out?
So if I'm not mistaken, I don't know Neil Drysdale's last name, but I know it's Sean.
Yes, Sean Dugan.
Sean Dugan, yes.
Yes.
So she buys some horses for us.
Nice.
And she called John about this filly, and I believe she went through the sale. We bid on her, and we got her.
She's got a good eye.
Yeah. She picked out Brand for us as well.
Nice.
And For All Mankind as well. So she's done well with the horses she's bought for us. But this filly, since she came to us, she really showed a lot of ability. And that race at Del Mar, she really had light training for that race. So considering the fact that she ran that impressive of a race, we're expecting big things from her.
Exciting times ahead in race number 7 for hopefully number 5 Raw Ability. Let's take a look at race number 8. One, it begins the $5 late daily double, also with a reduced 15% takeout. This race is 6 furlongs in the main track for restricted 3-year-old fillies in for a $12,500 tag. Full Moon Grazing on the outside is the 2-to-1 morning line favorite. Of these 7 runners, 5 competed in the race that Full Moon Grazing won. You expect a repeat, or you're looking for a new shooter?
So I'm looking at Rosie Tinkerbell.
5-to-1, first time Lasix.
Yeah, and I like horses that win the way she did. And the guy that claimed her isn't getting crazy. He's running right back for 12.5. You know, it's probably her level. So I think she's going to be super tough. Probably to go for another win.
You do respect, though, Full Moon Grazing, who came through on the inside last time out. However, though, she earned a career best Beyer speed figure of 53. Are you a believer at all? She's had some time to recover, approximately 30 days. But are you a believer in the bounce factor, particularly at this lower claiming level?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all horses can bounce. I mean, it just depends on how much they exert themselves. Obviously, with that career high Beyer, you're afraid of it, but I think they've been giving her enough time. She's had a month in between races, so I don't think it would be an issue. I really go with the Rosie Tinkerbell. She's only run twice. First race on the turf, you can throw it out. And not only that, but the horse that won Stake Fries, they were high on her when she ran. So I think this field will be tough in there.
Race number 9, unfortunately, does not offer $1 super high 5 wagering today. That's because there's a scratch of number 3, Madeira Wine. Leaves us with a field of 6, which means super high 5 wagering will not be available. We're going 1 mile on the turf course for fillies and mares. $25,000 is the claiming tag. Morning line favorite is number 4, Big Mama Sue from the Steve Miotti barn, 8-5 on the morning line. Mr. Miotti, a cagey trainer for up north. Give us a winner to close it out here, Juan.
So I'm going to go with the 6, Tiergarten.
Mr. Sexy, George Papapadromo.
If you want to talk about Cajun, you got to put Papapadromo in the mix.
Sure do.
So
that's his middle name.
I like his horse in there. I think she fits. I'd also like the horse that scratched out of there. So it just left me one option with the 6, but I think the 6 is going to be tough in here.
Juan, it has been our pleasure to have you as our seminar guest for the next 40 minutes. I know that I've learned a lot just listening to you, and I know that our viewers learned a lot as well. Thanks so much for your time and insight today. Good luck in both of those races where you guys have horses, and of course, continued success with Eagles Flight.
Thank you, Tom. I had a blast here.
I did too. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Hope the luck of the Irish shines on you today here at Santa Anita.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem. Good afternoon and welcome to Santa Anita Park. Happy St. Patrick's Day, special day of racing. The track conditions are brought to you by John Deere. We are fast and firm, rail on the turf at 20 feet. First race has a blinker note. Start of the early pick 5. Race 2, scratch 1, El Maga. Note number 3, a kitten for Sue, 2 pounds over. Turning to the second race, by the way, we do have a revised morning line that's up there. Third race, no changes. Fourth race, start of the $2 pick 6 on races 4 through 9. No scratches or jockey changes in the fourth. Fifth race starts the late pick 5 and all turf pick 3. 1 Pocaralis, 1 pound over. In the sixth, scratch 5 Starship Defiant. There is a revised morning line. 8 La Popis, the jockey Pedro Flores. 9 Lion's Lair, the jockey Tiago Pereira. And 10 A Crown for Kitten, 1 pound over. Revised morning line posted for the sixth. In the seventh, no changes. Eighth race, 4 Sensational ZZ. Disregard the equipment change. She did and will race with blinkers. She did last time, will again today. 3 Rosie Tinkerbell, 3 pounds over. And in the ninth, scratch 3 Madeira Wine. There is no high 5 wagering in the ninth. Post time for the opener at the Great Race Place in 26 minutes at 1 p.m. Drink specials all day, and of course, you've already seen free admission and free parking. Enjoy your afternoon.
Be a smarter better with First TV, the best horses. With thousands of exclusive morning workouts. All at your fingertips and delivered right into your inbox. Everything you need to be informed. Be smart. Bet smart. With First TV.